I'm here with Rhiannon, and we're talking about an upcoming course called "What Do We Actually Mean by Privilege," which is really interesting. We, hear that word is being used a lot more in wider society, but also in Quaker circles. So, what was the need arising that you were trying to answer with this course, Rhiannon?
Well, exactly what you just said. I was at yearly meeting in 2019, listening to conversations and really noticing that people were using the word privilege in different ways. Some people in quite a general sense and in quite a positive sense. Oh, I feel so privileged to be able to do this. And other people using it in a much more specific way to talk about unearned privileges, things that we're given because of our skin color or our class or our sexuality that maybe we don't want in society, and we want to uncover ways in which we can make things more equal by becoming aware of those unearned privileges. We've got together a small team. There'll be 4 tutors on this course so that we can look at privilege from lots of different perspectives, from the perspective of people who have and don't have different kinds of privilege. We'll also look at particularly how different privileges interact, what's sometimes called intersectionality. And at the end of the course, we'll ask, what can we do now that we've learned about privilege? What are the next steps? What kind of actions are we able to take?
When we talk about privilege, we seem to tend to focus in on a certain thing, but this is more generic about how it operates and more of a grounding in that. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, so an introduction to privilege. We will look at specific kinds of privilege on the way through, but we'll start with an introduction to the concept as a whole and finish by asking about privilege again as a whole and what can we do with it.
And do you find that's a useful thing to have when going into any of these more specific conversations then?
I think it can be really helpful to have an overview, to have thought about when privilege operates in similar ways in different situations and when it operates differently, to have thought about how apparently the same privilege might manifest differently in different people's lives. So that if you are black or white, your experience of that might be very different if you're a man or a woman, things like that. And we can obviously build that up in lots of different ways, depending on individual unique identities. People who benefit from this course are people who know maybe a little bit about privilege, maybe have heard the word, who are genuinely asking this question. I'm hearing this around, what does it actually mean? But also people who may be aware of privilege in some areas and want to expand their understanding, or people who are interested perhaps not in privilege specifically, but in equality and inequality in our society. How does that work? How is it created? What things keep inequality in place? And what can we do to undermine that and build a more equal society?
Do you want to briefly just tell us when it starts? And maybe you mentioned there were 3 other people involved. Do you want to just quickly tell us who they are?
Yeah, so the 3 other people are Effie Lee, Craig Barnett and Ivan Hutnick, all of whom are existing Woodbrook tutors. I'm really excited to be working with all of them. They come from very different perspectives. So Effie's expertise is particularly around disability and intersectionality. Craig's expertise comes very much around refugees, and he's been looking at and blogging recently about white privilege and how we address that. And Ivan Hutnick's got lots of experience with dialogue and facilitation and creating spaces for productive conversations. So I think we've got a really good team there. We'll be starting in September with the sessions. The course starts on the 21st of September. We won't have, as I said, we won't have live sessions. We'll have the discussion forum and material available on Moodle. We'll release new material on the Monday each week, and you'll have the week to work it through and to approach it in whatever way suits you. So I'd suggest that people maybe set aside a couple of hours a week, but that can be at any time. There are no constraints on how you engage with the material.